Hello, welcome back to the podcast for another episode. Every week I think I say I've got special guests. Today is absolutely no different. We've got George Tellis here. George, thank you for joining us. I think you might be the oldest person we've had so far. And I don't think it will get beaten, to be honest with you. Tell everybody, how old are you, George?
Well, I give you the day born, right?
Yeah, and we've got to work it out.
It's
I'll tell you.
92.
Well, at the present moment, precisely 92 and a half.
92 and a half, wow.
Born on 11/2/32.
Okay, before my time. You're going to have to explain some of the context as we go. So let's just start. We're going to start right at the beginning. Tell us where you're from, where you were born, where you were brought up.
Well, I'm from Greece.
Mm-hmm.
I'm born in a village, in a village called Playa.
Okay.
And from there, I carry on my school days in Playa and my high school days in Plomari.
Okay.
Bigger village.
So tell just to picture it. Can you how far are you from the sea? Is it a coastal place?
I mean my village.
Mm-hmm.
It was about walking half an hour.
Okay.
Walking.
Nice.
But in Plomari, where the high school is,
So in my head, I've got a quaint, beautiful Greek village. The sun is shining. You're eating good food. You're eating good food. I'm
beautiful.
Yeah, sounds amazing. It's a good place to be brought up.
Definitely.
Yeah, good. And just Christianity. Were you brought up in
Christianity? I was an Orthodox Christian.
Okay.
And like I say, my church every Sunday never failed. Always in there.
Okay.
The only person who never went into that church, and he was my father.
Okay.
The rest of us in there.
So you were there every week.
Every week.
And your mother was there, but not your father.
My mother, my sister, everything.
And do you see that as a positive? Did that influence? Was that a good influence on you?
Well, I never had any. All these years I lived in my village. No matter I was doing this, I never had any problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see, when I finished my school before I lived and go in South Africa in Kitui, in Zambia.
Yeah.
I was helping my father.
Okay. What did he do? What was his job? His profession?
My father, his professionally was a shoemaker.
Oh,
but
wow.
he didn't like it, and I became a pruner for the trees, olive trees, etc.
Oh, wow.
But my father, he had quite lots of these olive trees and all this and that, and farms and all. And I was helping him in there.
Mm-hmm.
And he had lots of animals.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I was going in school and Sundays in the morning, I used to put it out, go and live in it and the animals. And then at 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the afternoon, I used to go and collect it.
Okay.
And that's all I was helping father on
your life.
farming.
Yeah.
On his farm, wherever he wants me to go, he says, go to that place in there, and I want you to dig.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're working hard.
Yeah, I wait and finish that.
Mm-hmm.
Every place my father used to have, some it was 150 olive trees, some 60, some 80, some, he had 9 places.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what I helped him.
And what?
Then when I got a job in there with a bus.
So that's when you left school?
Yeah.
Okay, when you left school, you're working.
When I left school, then I had a job in there for about a month in there. And from there, when we saw the guy, he took my brother and myself into Kitui.
In Zambia.
Zambia.
Yeah. Okay, so it's quite a big change going from from Greece to Zambia. What brought that? What made you do that? Were you unhappy in Greece, or was
I was happy.
But the jobs
But
were
there is
just
no jobs.
no jobs at that time.
There is no jobs, and I wasn't preparing sort of a continue be a farmer. I was just working in my father's properties.
Yeah.
So that's why my mother spoke to auntie, and auntie spoke to her daughter, and they took me in Zambia.
Okay. So how was it just going from such a one like Greece to Zambia? That must have been a culture shock for you. Was it difficult to adjust?
What's the culture mean?
Well, like it's so different. Greece and Zambia, so different.
No.
How did you cope? You're a young
I
man at
was
that
so
point.
happy. No,
You were
I was
happy?
happier.
Okay. So you loved it, but you didn't speak you didn't speak
I
the
didn't know nothing. But I work on these guys, you know. He had two bars, cocktail bar and an ordinary bar for people, and a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And then I used to work in there on a restaurant
Yeah.
for him. And then for a little while, and then after, he transfers myself and my brother, Theo, to Kitui,
Mm-hmm.
and my brother became in the office, was working in the office,
Okay.
and me I became in the barman.
Okay.
And I can't remember how long I worked in there, and I left. And to be
Did you
honest,
speak English at that point?
well, then yes, I've learned quite
Yeah.
soon the English, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I did learn. Then I had no problem
Okay.
in my job, etc. And that's it.
Yeah.
And this is the last time, you know, that's on the. Because it took me a little bit too long to go to Zambia,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of doing nothing and spending my money and all this and that, I went in a place called Osaka.
Yeah, the capital city. Yeah.
And
So it's
then,
a big place.
yeah, it's a big place, and I used to work in there as on a restaurant
Okay.
for a while. I think it's about a couple of months, 3 months.
Okay.
And when I've got the news, because I apply to work in the railways,
Okay.
and the railways, it was looking for me in Kitui, in Kitui, and the person who was looking for me was a Greek, and we know each other.
Oh.
And he found out where I'm working at present moment. He phoned me, then he says, George, come now because the railways, you know, they're waiting for you. You've got a place for you. And I went in there, and they gave me a job as a shunter, is that?
Mm-hmm. Shunter.
Yeah, shunter, moving the trucks.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Building the trains and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you had friends there. You had a good life.
I had a beautiful life in there. Because quite a few Greeks in there.
Okay.
Plenty
So
of
quite
Greeks
a-
in there.
yeah.
Went to the prayer, walking up and down, doing here, doing that. And what happened after?
And you met somebody there, I think, in Zambia.
Oh, no.
You met somebody special in Zambia,
Yes, of
no?
When we met?
69.
This is
1969.
Frances, by the way.
Sorry.
She's not on camera, but she's here.
George had a restaurant and supermarket in
Oh,
Ndola,
yeah.
Okay.
and I
okay.
met him there.
So
After
you
that-
met Frances 1969.
9.
Okay.
And after that, you know, before I met Francis, you know, I opened a restaurant in Ndola.
Oh, okay. So you're living in a different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was living in Ndola. And
Mhm.
then in Ndola, in there, we met, and that's how we built our lives between Francis and I.
And you got married in Zambia?
No. When it,
No, here.
You got married here.
yeah.
Okay. But you lived in Zambia
Yeah.
20 odd years, I think, was it? 20 years?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So, anything else about Zambia that we need to know? Were you go to church at all in Zambia?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Was it just not an interest
Yeah,
to you? It
no.
just wasn't in your thought?
No, I wasn't in. Even Francis would tell me that it's come. I said, you carry on and live my life.
Okay.
I'll do my business, and you. And then something happened after. And I sold that business in there. I had the spar after,
Uh-huh.
and I sold that. But the person who bought it,
Yeah. Okay.
one kaput bugger,
Yeah, it didn't work out.
and I lost my money there,
All right,
etc.
okay.
And then,
So you're moving from thing to thing and
yeah,
just trying to make money, having a good time,
that's
living life.
always
an adventure.
here and there, yeah.
Yeah.
Tried sort of continue my life in there.
Okay, and then you eventually left Zambia.
Yeah.
You went back to Greece for
a year. Or
A
so.
year?
No,
A year.
less than a year.
Less than a year.
and
Than a year.
but a different place from where you grew
Yeah.
up. Is that
The
right?
place they call it Larissa.
Okay, is it a bit bigger?
Yeah, it's a
so
bigger.
you were trying to get.
Because I had my brother lives in there.
Okay, is that Theo?
No,
No, another brother.
Greg.
Okay.
Both of them.
And I was married, but the Theo, he was engaged to a woman in there.
Okay,
But I met her there.
but you only stayed there a year or so.
A year, just under a year.
Precisely.
And so what brought?
Yeah.
And then you decided to come to Scotland.
Yep.
What made you decide to come back or not come back? Somebody in this room. It wasn't me.
No.
Don't think I was around then. So
Yeah.
Francis was keen to come back to Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll come back in there. Then when we were first coming over here, then as far as I'm concerned, we'll stay with Francis' parents and the house and they. And then we was happy. We had no problem and all this and that. And after we left Francis' parents in the house, and we're going to rent another house ourselves in there.
Mm-hmm.
The Diane, Francis, and I.
So Diane is your eldest daughter,
Yeah,
and then she was born. She would have been born. Where was she? What country?
she born
In Scotland.
I don't want to say too much.
In Scotland, and then John was born in Scotland as well.
yeah.
Yeah. So John, for people who haven't cottoned on, son John Tellis, who an elder in the Living Room Church. I'm sure you all knew that anyway. But yeah, so he was born in Scotland. And then where you going? Did you start going to church in Scotland at all, or was it still not a still no interest in Christianity?
John, he became in the church by himself. Like I told you earlier, that when we have a serious chat, and say, Dad, I love you and appreciate whatever you tell me, but whatever you say, 100%, I agree with you. But let me carry on myself, and the mistakes I'm making, I corrected myself.
Yeah.
And he did, and he went to church by himself and all that. I mean, after that.
Hi there. Unfortunately, we're having some technology issues there. So George got cut off, so we missed some of his story. So I'll try and sum up. So they were living, Francis and George were living in Edinburgh. Two kids, Diane and John Tellis. They weren't going to church at this time. They'd no kind of Christian input into their lives. It wasn't really a consideration for them. They're enjoying life in Scotland. But George is working in Asda. He's doing well, working in the food department, getting manager there, promoted. But out of the blue, he got a job offer in South Africa. Again, using his kind of expertise in food retail. And it was an offer they had to take. It was a good offer. They'd lived in Zambia, so going to South Africa wasn't as big a thing as it might be for others in a similar situation. So off they went to South Africa. and George worked in different cities, moved places. So yeah, and at that time, Frances started going to church, and she became a Christian. And yeah, we'll rejoin the story at this point. Frances has introduced George to to her pastor at the church they're going to. George is dropping the family off at church, but George himself is not attending church and is still of no real interest. So let's rejoin the conversation.
Okay, so you're in South Africa. Francis has become a Christian, but you're not too keen on this church thing. Are you not interested at all, or are you just are you against Christianity, or is it just something that didn't interest you?
He said, I was born Greek Orthodox, I will die Greek Orthodox.
Okay, you were
I'm
stubborn.
not going to your
You're
church.
stubborn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that and what made that change then?
They changed because, like I said, I used to have a spa,
Mm-hmm.
and I sold it to somebody, and it went on bankruptcy, and I lost all my money.
Yeah.
And then the only money they gave me 1 month. And why can Francis and I we live and the kids? Because Jody also is there. John and Diane and two of us. We can live for the 1 month's wages.
Yeah.
And I applied to I applied back to my company,
Mm-hmm.
and they took me back.
Okay.
And he took me back, and he moved us over to Newcastle.
No.
Yeah.
Joburg. You went to Rose Bank, remember?
Yeah,
And we met Tom and Marilyn there.
but we were in Newcastle.
So
Where's
where's
Newcastle store?
Yeah,
The manager there.
but you weren't saved then. It was after you went to Joburg.
Oh.
But the
what
Lord
made-
was
so what-
working in his life.
Yeah, the
There's no
Lord's
two
working
ways.
in your
Yeah.
life. So, slowly but surely. You're still stubborn. I think I think that's safe to say. But what made you? Did you start going to church, or did what started your journey?
When we, like I said, when the guy was in bankruptcy, I lost my money
Yeah,
there.
that makes you
And
think.
then by the time I need a job because I'm staying in a rent in a flat.
Mm-hmm.
How can I pay you all that and that? And a friend of mine, he used to be a food manager in a Kitui. And he come in to me, then he says,
Kitwe. We're in South Africa.
Durban.
Durban. Okay.
And Durban, he come in Durban, and in there, friend of mine, and then he says, we got a news, George. You got a job, but you got to go to Johannesburg. Well, I can go anyway as long as I get the job.
Yeah.
And then we went to the place,
In Johannesburg.
Johannesburg, and started working in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then every weekend, I was traveling and going down, coming down to Durban because I left them in the same flat in there. I never give up in it. And as I was working, we paid the rent in there. I stayed and I would carry on working. And then when everything is getting better for me, and then when we coming and talking with Francis all the time, then I said, well, I've got to do something about it.
Okay.
And the guy that pastor coming and speaking to me every week,
Okay.
and then I say, there is no other way.
There's no other way. Yeah.
I've got to do it.
Uh-huh.
And I've done it, and I never look back.
So the stubborn man that you were was eventually
Never look back.
you never look back, and so you got involved in that church straight away. And how have you changed over the years? Do you think since you became a Christian? What would be the couple of things?
My life, I never, anything, whatever the Christian life that was taught me to say, to do, that's what I was doing.
Uh-huh.
I was doing mistakes, obviously.
Yeah.
And then, but when I was doing mistakes, I always speak to Francis straight away, and then I pray and ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
And
Your heart's changed, really.
Yeah, it changed a lot.
Yeah, your heart's changed and your.
even now, I am exactly precisely the time I changed my heart, and stay like this even now.
Yeah.
Never change now.
No.
Anybody speaks to me, that, oh, George, why don't you do? Excuse me, oh, I'm sorry that I can't stay any longer because I've got an appointment to go in there. I'll see you some other time. I'll just leave. I don't turn around and say, hey, whatever you are or whatever is different. So leave me alone and cheerio. I use excuses.
Uh-huh.
Now, I know that it was a lie, but this excuse, but I pray about it and I know myself that God will forgive me for that.
Yeah,
and
you didn't have that before. You didn't have that forgiveness in your heart.
No.
And we obviously know John well. He grew up in that church in Johannesburg and then you moved to Durban as well. And then you found a good church found a good church in Durban.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, he was a good church in Durban too.
And John would tell me that he was a little bit wasn't the easiest child at times. Would you want to comment on that?
He definitely wasn't.
Bit rebellious?
Johnny wasn't the easy child, but the conversation, and I never that conversation with John, says, Dad, I'll listen to you, but let
me do what I want to do.
I never tell anything, Francis, because why must I tell? It's nothing too important, you know what I mean? So I left it like that. But as the time passes, and he was doing this and he was doing that, different and good, I mentioned to Francis, I said, well, the conversation where there's sometimes going on, it's proven.
And you saw a big change in John's life when he became a Christian.
And when I became a Christian, and he was the Christian better than I was.
It must be lovely to see the growth in his life since then.
Whatever John is becoming, this.
Yeah.
Very proud.
Yeah, very quite right. Yeah. No, it's good to see God working someday.
Yeah, because you see that what John was.
So John had become a Christian in South Africa. You'd pretty settled there. But let's jump to 2008. 2008, you decided to move back to Scotland. What was the reason behind coming back to Scotland?
Because maybe Francis remember.
The reason was that
John and So John and Leslie had come here for.
The reason is because John and his family in here, Diane is in here, and John was waiting for me. He said, Dad, I want you in here. Everything, I've got a place for you, and you must come here.
Uh-huh.
And we sit down with Francis, we talked about it, and he says, well, what do you think? And we decide sort of
Good.
Going and coming back here.
So it's nice you've coming over. John and Leslie are here. Starting family here. Was it? How did you find being back after a number of years away? Was it?
Well, on that second time when we come back, it was easier for me because
family.
The first time it was a little bit difficult of the weather and all this and that.
Yeah, you're all used to that.
I was wearing about 6 jerseys.
You still do, to be fair.
Yeah. but now I wearing 3.
Okay, well I'll give you 3. And you. Where did you? At this point, you started going to church. The living room didn't exist at that point. So where were you going to church?
What? Carrubbers.
So, and then the living room came out of Carrubbers. So you joined.
Yeah, there was. Now I remember when the living room come in Then we left Carabas.
And you came.
Come
So
back
you've been in the church since probably the
Ever
first,
since.
very first service, and
Yeah.
you've been here ever since. So that's 13 years you've been with us. So yeah, no, it's been great to part of this journey, hasn't it? Together, and we've just seen lots of growth, and people grow up, and you've seen your grandkids grow up, and
That's
now great to see. And yeah, Faith's in uni now. Ella's doing great as well. So it must be brilliant to have witnessed and seen all that.
Yeah,
It was great to see them being baptised.
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, it's great to see that.
But now, John, as you're talking about, I'm the happiest guy that who I am and where I belong to.
Mm-hmm.
I can go into the highest mountain in the world, and I can shout who I am, who I was, and where I belong now.
Yeah,
and I'm
you're
the happiest
content.
guy. Yeah,
Content.
I've got no problem.
And that's amazing to hear.
Yeah, and there's something I meant to tell you.
Yep, go for it. Now's the time.
But this dizziness, John, they bothers me so much because my memory is not there.
Yeah.
And I've got to be careful. I'm the person I used to say to my wife and to everybody that only if I die, then I will stop coming in church. You know what I mean? And now I cannot sort of do it
you can't be there every Sunday.
because it's this dizziness. You don't know what's going to happen to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting here now. I feel nothing.
Yeah.
I feel that I am 19 years old. But when if Francis is in there and she called me, tell me something. If I don't wear this, and I can't hear her properly, I have to get up in case something happens. Then, if I get up like this,
Watch
now,
out. Watch out. Not on camera, please, George. We don't want you collapsing on camera.
Then I'm slowly, and I getting up slowly. I never turn my head like this, but my body, and I go in there and I say, Francis, what's the problem? And she tells me, whatever.
Well, I think you're doing pretty well for 92 and however many days.
But the other,
92 and a
but
half.
I miss my church. But
when you're not with your people.
Because when Sunday, every Sunday I used to get up at 10 past 7. And I go in the bathroom, I'm preparing, have my breakfast in here, Francis goes preparing. And we're ready, we're dressed and travel down there, and I enjoy the church.
Yeah.
But now, I stopped. And then I says to Francis, I stopped it, but I'm going to try again. Because my usual time, I get up 8:15, and I carry on the life and just continue. But I've got to be careful, my movements and everything. And one day, then I says to myself, I'll try again, to get up 10 past 7 and see if and when I got up, I feel myself not, I says, no, let me go in the toilet because I'm getting up about 5 times, 4-5 times I'm going to the toilet. And and then I go that, and I told Francis, let me carry on like this. I will never say I'm not going to come in again. I carry on like this, and I'm praying every night, every Saturday night, I'm praying, that if God helps me, that I can go. I travel, I'll go with Francis. But
it might surprise you.
You're missed, but look, you're doing great for 92, and you're still very much part of the church, even if you're not there on a Sunday. And I think that's the great thing about a church. It's not we can be a community together. And I know I've loved hearing your stories over the years when we've had a chance to chat, when you've been wearing 5 jumpers and I've been wearing a t-shirt. But no, it's been great. I've loved hearing your stories. I think it's fascinating where you've been, what you've done. I think it's important to hear what the older generation, what life was like, what we can learn from you, and something I really want to encourage in our church is for the generations to mix, and hopefully that living room is a place where we can do that, and you've very much been a part of that. over the last few years. So, yeah, I don't think I've got any more questions for
You
you.
see, the other thing I was
Yeah,
going to tell you.
I
That
thought you might have something else to
yeah,
say.
yesterday when the Derek and his wife and Andrew coming.
Eric
Eric
Yvonne.
and
Yeah.
Yvonne.
They were
They
here.
come in and Andrew, yeah.
They came to your house. Good.
And they come in and they spoke to me very well and all this and that. When I sit and like I'm talking to you just now, talking to Eric,
Yeah.
and then he says, "No, George, what are you doing? Carry on and do that in there. Don't push yourself. and
Exactly.
don't rush
No, I would
yourself.
say the same.
Take it
exactly.
easy.
Uh-huh.
God, He knows.
Uh-huh.
If God he wants to take this away from you, they
Yeah.
will take it.
Yeah.
Because I've been to the different doctors
Mhm.
and asking for examination from the top to the bottom. And the last person is a woman. We went in here and she done the examination from the top to the bottom. And when she finished, I said, George, can I tell you something? I says, I'm here. And she says, if I grow up and I come into your age,
Mhm.
and I will be the same way as you are now,
Yeah.
I'll be the happiest woman.
Well, I'd say the exact
Yeah.
same for me.
Yeah, because John, I don't want to say and bragging, I'm pushing, showing off myself that I am who I am.
Boasting, yeah.
But that's what it is. Because if you see my gardens, everybody talks about my
Oh
gardens.
yeah.
And then
We'll maybe get some photos on the video.
yeah, and in here, this everything from that door to this door, every Tuesday, I vacuum it and I wash it. The only thing I leave in this part because when I start moving the table and the chairs and I have to wash
you
it,
gotta be careful.
and I feel that it's a little bit heavier to me, then I says, and I told Francis, I'm not gonna do that. I will leave it, and I'm doing it every Wednesday morning.
Eric had George reading Greek from the Bible.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've helped Andrew a little bit over the
Yeah,
years
yeah.
when he's been trying to learn
Yeah, he asked
doing
me
his
to.
Greek, and you've helped him out. So that's been good that you've been able to do that.
And both of them, when they left, we say goodbye, and they left, Andrew and Eric, then he says, George, continue, live your life that way.
Mhm.
He says, God understands.
Yeah.
Because anything wrong, whatever wrong you want now, whatever the way you suffer, it's nobody give you present. This is God's decision, and you've got to accept it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's all I'm doing.
Yeah, good.
But my gardens, I make a special stool and I sit in there and I do 1 meter job and
then
I just
slow-
carry on.
little by little. Good, good. Well, thank you, George. Loved hearing about your story. You've done all right with your detail. You said you couldn't remember anything, but you've still got a pretty good memory in there. You've still a little bit up here.
Yeah,
That's been good.
bit confused.
A little bit, no, it's been really good.
yeah,
It's been
I'm
brilliant.
conf-
Thank you
I'm-
very much.
I'm confused quite a few times.
No, you've done great.
Because
A lot's happened. You've been a lot of places. There's been here, there, everywhere.
I
So,
think it's because we've been a lot in
aye,
places
it's hard to.
that gets them
Yeah.
more confused.
yeah.
No, thank you very much, George. It's
Yeah.
been great, and I'm sure you guys have enjoyed it. And thank you.
And thank you very much, John, and I appreciate you coming in there and you listen to.
I know it's good to listen. Good to
And
listen to each other.
I'm happy, very happy.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks
Bye.
for coming.